Today's daf is Maseches Nedarim, Daf Chaf. The top line is the beginning of a new Mishnah. So, the previous Mishnah, the Mishnah discussed the halacha that's not stam Nedarim, when you stam say a word and a lashon that you use for Nedarim, and we don't know how to interpret it. So we go lahachmir. And Perushan, we said, when the guy comes in and go ahead and says explain it, when a noida goes in and explains it, you go lahakol. So this Mishnah is going to explain how is it that Perushan lahakol, what's the case? Zok the Hilig Mishnah, Nadar be'echer, if a guy makes a neder and a cher, and then he backtracks on his words. V'armad lo nadarti. So he says a neder b'loshen cher, and then he says lo nadarti. I didn't have in mind to. It's not what I intended to do. Ela b'cher shiyam. What did I have in mind to say? I have in mind to say cher shiyam, which means the nets that they catch fish in the sea. So davar amutar. Or b'carbon. He's nadar b'loshen carbon v'amar lo nadarti. Then he says I did not have kavana ela kavana shamalachim in the kavanas that kings bring, not the kavanas based on Midrash, which is a davar another. Or he says. Tells his friend, Haray atzmi carbon, I am a carbon, meaning I'm trying, so it might sound like he's trying to answer himself like a carbon. And then he says, V'amar lo nadarti, no, I did not have kavana, ela be'etzem sheinachti li liyas noidaban. I wanted to trick people that you should think that I'm making a neder, but I really just meant that when I said Haray ba'atzmi, I meant a bone, a lashon be'etzem, that I have in my house. That was my intention. Or he says, Koinim ishtu nanisli. Va'amar lo nadarti ela b'ishtu rishon shegarashi. He says, I'm answering my wife on me. And then he says, I had in mind my wife, my ex-wife, the wife that I previously had that I divorced. Al kulon inish olam hanak. All of them, the halacha is, you cannot be shayol. Then nishalu oinchanes, and if they are shayol to chacham, then, and they're mad to them, the halacha is oinchanes, and we punish him. And we are machmir on them more than other nedarim. How are we machmir? Because we're not when we're machmir the neder, we don't allow the alidei charot, the regret. It has to be alidei pesach. A pesach means like an opening, give them an opening. If you would have known that this would have happened, would have you have made the neder? That kind of. That's called a Pesach. Divrei Meir, as Rameir says. You're allowed to give them an opening in Pesach to matner them, however you teach them to be knowing Isser Nedarim, even though they're not really Chal Manadim, until you matter them, Kadosh Yignu Kal Yisrael Nedarim. We don't want them to make a zilzal on Nedarim, and then they'll be mezalzel in the Nedarim, even though it's legitimate Nedarim, which are good. So, now, Frag to Gemara, Hakuf HaKasha, the Mishnah Shver, from the beginning to the end. Why? Because Amrit, in the first he said that Al Kulan, all these cases that the Mishnah brought, the guy says that he makes an eder, then he explains himself. So, first we said, in the that you're not allowed to be mad to them. Then he said, if they are shoyal, then we're machmer them, and we're machmer them, which is mashma that they could be shoyal, and if they are shoyal, they machmer them. Well, what do you mean? I thought the Mishnah just said that you're not shoyal on them. Amar Yehuda said no. This is after learning. All of them do not need shayla l'chacham. And when do you say that they do not need shayla? By Talmud Chacham, that he could say that Perushan lahakol, and we say this is what he meant to say in his words. Talmud Chacham says that, we believe him, and we say you're good to go. Al Bama Aretz, which is not believed, then he needs to have shayla Chacham, and when he's Shebali Shol, and when Am Aretz goes ahead and goes to Katan, and he goes ahead and is matrid, then we punish him and we're machar on him. So there's a difference because the Gemara is saying between Am Aras and Talmud Chacham. That's basically how the Gemara is explaining the Mishnah. Zok the Gemara weiter. Bishlama. So this is the Mishnah said initial ancient as the Gemara said Bishlama. Zok the Gemara like this. Bishlama machmirin delay pasun lemecharata. Bishlama machmirin. What does it mean? Machmir him when it comes to Bishoyel. It means that you don't. The only way you matter of him is only way to Pesach. How do you punish him? Kedetanya. What do you do to punish him? What do you do to him? So tomorrow Kedetanya learns to set the parak alav halacha. Now Misha Nazar of al Nazirus. So something makes himself accepts upon himself as Nazirus, and he's over Nazirus. And after he's over, then he comes to be shown as Nazirus. The halacha is einis gapan loy. We punish him, and we're not matter to him until he actually is noyig iser. Kiyam shanaga and heter. Like the amount of days that he was noyig heter. That's what Yehuda says. Amar Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi says, when do you say this? That if somebody's nose on his ears and is over in it, then we're not niskuk to matter him until he's noyig may heter, the amount he may heter he did. That's only by Naziris Moetas and Naziris Shleshim Yoyim. Alma Naziris Meruba. But if he was noyig heter more than 30 days, Da Yoy Shleshim Yoyim. It's enough now to be noyig Isser Shleshim Yoyim, although he was noyig heter more than 30 days. But it's enough, like Stam Naziris Shleshim Yoyim. So what's he trying to say? That in our Mishnah he's saying the same thing. That if a guy makes a guy makes a neder in these guys neder b'loshen, let's say cherem, and then he backtracks and it says al b'cherem shel yom, and he was noyig heter. So we tell him how do we punish him? We tell him you have to be noyig now the iser, just like the amount of days, as many days that you were noyig heter. And then, only then, after that, will we go ahead and will we matter his neder. Amar Rav Yosef, Hoyel Amar Rabbanan. Yosef says, since Rabbanan said that somebody has over on his neder, ain't we did not matter to him until he's noyig the amount of days he's noyig heter, he has to be noyig eser. So Beidin and the Mizdakni, Bezin that goes ahead and is matter him before he's noyig any eser, loyav and shacher, they are not doing correctly, and you have to tell them they're doing the wrong thing. Rav Achim says no, it's not just that they're not doing the right thing, but achloi. If he wants, he can eat it b'melach. If he wants to just put salt on it and eat it without cooking it, achloi, he's allowed to. Tzali, achloi. He wants to eat it roasted, eat it. Mevoshel, cooked, achloi. Shalok, if it's very well cooked, achloi. So too, when a guy buys a fish himself, he's allowed to eat it the way he wants. So the Gemara was meaning to say that if a person has his wife, he's also allowed to be mishamisher to his liking. Says the Gemara about it. Says the Gemara about it. Amar Meimar, Ma Malach Asharis. Who is Malach Asharis that the Gemara brought down in the words of Yochanan ben Dahavai, that the Malach Asharis, we said before, that the Malach Asharis, he said, Arba Dvarim Sach le Malach Asharis. That's what Yochanan ben Dahavai said. So the Gemara, who are they? Chachamim. Rabbanon, it was a Rabbanon. To eat him a Malach Asharis Mamash. You want to tell me they're real angels? Am I Rabbi Yochanan in Alach Yochanan ben Dahavai? Well, Inu B'Kiyah B'Tzur Savlat Tvei. If you want to tell me it wasn't, that was Taka angels, how would the Gemara say that the halacha is not going to be like Yochanan ben Dahavai? If you heard it from angels, like the halacha probably should be like that. But Inu B'Kiyah B'Tzur Savlat Tvei. The Malachim are they know what's going on in the Tzur of Vlad, so they would know for sure that they were right, if with the things that they said. My Karlahu Malachas, my Karlahu Malachas. Why do you call Chacham Malachas? The Mitzayni Malachas, because they are oisketseichent, and they are moved all separate from Shar Nashim, Kamalachei Asharis. Just like Malachei Asharis are moved from the rest of the people. So they're cut above the rest, so to speak. There was a woman that came in front of Rebbe. Rebbe, arachti shochan, v'hafachai. I got myself ready for normal tashmish, the normal derech, and my husband was mishamish like a derech. Amallah, Rebbe told him, Biti, Torah hitirasich. The Torah is madyadas to your husband, v'ani ma'asalech. What can I do for you? A woman came in front of Rav Amaloi, and she told Rebbe the same thing. Amar man shnam binisa. Why is it different from the fish that you buy? Just like he's allowed to eat a fish the way he wants, so too he's allowed to buy all his wife. It's up to him what he'd like to do. It says in Parashat Krishma, of course. A person now let him boil one isha and have his mind on another isha. Amar Ravina nitzcha. Ravina says, no, you need this pasuk elo dafilu shtei nashav. Even though both his wife is married to two women, he's not allowed to have hirhurim on one isha, b'shas being by another isha. Zakti Gemara Baitu. V'roisi mikem. The pasuk in Cheskel Parachav pasuk Lamed Ches says, V'roisi mikem amaridim apoishim bi. Amar Rebbe Levi elu b'nei tesha mides. These are going on. This pasuk is going on from kids that were born from one of the 10 Eifanim, which is a tzad avera. B'nei asant mishkacha, and that is just a way of remembering those nine scenarios. And what are they? B'nei ema. If somebody's matal ema on al ishtoi shalom mertzayna for tashmish. B'nei anusa, that someone's ma'anas wife. B'nei senua, if he does not like his wife and therefore is nois and ein of isha charas b'shas ma'isa. B'nei nidu, if he boils his wife when he's menuda. B'nei temura, If he thought he was being boil his wife and is really being boil somebody else, he didn't realize. B'nei meriva, if he was mishamish while being in a fight, an argument. B'nei shechris, if he was mishamish shikr. B'nei grishas alev, if he had a mind already that he's going to divorce his wife, and therefore the problem is that he's mahar and another isha. B'nei revuvia, if there's an isha that is bala kama nashim, and we don't know who this child's from which father. B'nei chatzufa is an isha that is teveya, her husband, v'tashmish. So the Gemara goes now. The Gemara asks on the last halacha. Eini, is that true? Anyone that his wife's tevei and v'tashmish, so he'll have children that even in Nedarim Moshe Rabbeinu they did not have like them. You see that Moshe asked for anashim nevoinim that they should be appointed. And it says, it doesn't say that Moshe Rabbeinu actually found the Nevoinim. You see, he settled. He only took Rosh Hashiftechem. And Zakti Gemara, it says, Yisacha Chamor Garim. And it says in Parashas Bereshis, in Sefer Bereshis, Parak Mem Tes, Pasuk Yudalad, it says that Yisacha Chamor Garim. Yisacha was Daimla Chamor, it says. And the Chacham Darshan, Chazal Darshan, that the Chamor, what's this Chamor that Yaakov rode on, was Goyrim to the fact that Yisachar was born. And well, because he turned himself away from the oil of Rachel to Leah, and therefore Leah was Teveim v'tashmish, as like the pasuk says, "V'tetze Leah v'temer Elai tava Yisachar chaticha." And then you see it says in Divrei Yom, Nei Saschar, Zakti Gemara, Chsiv Nei Saschar Yoidei Vina Liitim, that they were talking about Libina. They were the Nevoinim that Moshe Rabbeinu was talking about when he said, Havalacham Anashim Chacham Nevoinim. And you see it came, B'schos, that Leah was Tevei Yaakov B'peh. So you see there's not a Chasaron, and there's no Chasaron in that. And Adarab, Leah was only Mekabel Schar, that she was able to have a son, Yoidei Vina Liitim, like Yisachar. Zakti Gemara, Hahi Demeratzia Artsuye. The Tviyah of Leah was not Bepeh. It wasn't Meforsha Peh, it was only the Meratzia Artsuye. She was Meratzah Spailim, Divrei Pius, that she should be Nischabav on her husband, and Memele should be Ba'yalel. Hadron Aloch Ve'elu Matar.